All right, Moni, who is our final caller for the night?
Oh, all right. Our final one will be Hector Howell, actually. It's funny you should mention him. So he's joining as a first-time chatter.
Hector Howell, how you doing, fam?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much for the sub, man. Really appreciate it, and also very happy to have you here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you gave the other dude some false hope there. Feel free to give him the spot right now. I'm more than happy to try and catch the next one.
No, it's fine.
Was my mistake.
D-Rocker will definitely come in and say his piece again, so you don't have to worry about that.
Fantastic.
All right, what's your question, bro?
All right, so a couple weeks ago I wrote up a list here, so hopefully we can find something of interest on here. If we get to one or two questions, that's fantastic. If you want to do more, let's keep going. So my first one's a little bit of a fun one. Okay. My question is, where in the World of Warcraft is Akalon? So to give you a little more context, when you imagine Akalon the Orc Warlock, as you do, thinking about the cosmos, thinking about these theories, what is the space in which he exists?
Oh, he stands next to Lord Gul'dan, plotting the invasion of the Dark Forces and the destruction of all life on Azeroth. That's where I am. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I hope you don't meet the same fate as he did.
I'm bringing him back.
Time.
I'm working on bringing him back. Don't worry. You know, there's always another skull just around the corner. Right.
The third Gul'dan. I love it. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is more than I could have hoped for.
What's another question?
One.
These are fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So the next one is a simple sort of query, I'd say. Okay. So in the first raid in Legion, the Emerald Nightmare, our first encounter is a dragon guardian named Nythendra.
Yes.
Looking back at her with the context of Dragonflight and the Azure Span, all of the aesthetic design seems very linked with decay magic.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Again, we go back to what I said 2 callers ago. If I look at the old gods, because the nightmare, we are told, is spread by the old gods, right? It's specifically Yogg-Saron that built this backdoor into the dream and sort of started spreading his influence within it. And then eventually all of the other old gods sort of piggybacked onto that connection that they now had, and they kept spreading it. The one interesting thing is, it never changes. It always remains very much decay magic. And this is where my theory comes from, where I believe the old gods are actually from the realms of decay, not from the realms of the void. I don't think the void either exists, or if they do exist, I don't think we've ever seen them. The Titans just sort of accepted that, you know, this must come from the void, because where else would it come from? They know that it's not creatures of death, it's not creatures of disorder, it's not creatures of the light or of life or of order, so it must come from this other force that they think must be out there somewhere, and that's just sort of what they decided. But from every aspect, you know, Yogg-Saron calls himself the god of death. Yogg-Saron creates Galakrond, very much of the decay, and also breathes death, like literal death. And it's interesting when you read Dawn of the Aspects, Galakrond's breath doesn't kill on contact. Galakrond's death just makes you lose all will to live. It slowly sort of eats at you. It decays you over time. Like, the longer you're in his breath, the weaker you become. Right? So it's fully decay. And now, as you said, you go into the Emerald Nightmare, the dragon there is 100%, like, all of their abilities is very much decay magic. I think it proves that the old gods are not void. They're decay. They're of the realms of decay. Or decay is of void. That could probably also be true, right? So void created decay, which then sort of makes you wonder what came first. Because according to Steve Denuser, the elemental magics are the sort of primal magics of the universe. The cosmological magics are the high magics of the universe. So, was the primal magics first, and out of the primal magics, the high magics were built? Were the high magics first, and out of the high magics, the primal magics were built? Or are these things not connected at all, insofar as, their birth is concerned?
Interesting, yeah, because when I wrote this question, I very much was thinking, oh, there's a bit of decay sort of snuck into the nightmare. But yeah, if it's just the same stuff as all the other old god stuff, then it really makes complete sense to be there.
Well, yeah.
If intended or not.
I mean, it wasn't obvious to us, because we didn't actually know who created Galakrond. Remember, up until Dragonflight, the creation of Galakrond was a massive mystery. But then in Dragonflight, they confirmed that it was Yogg-Saron that infected the waters, and then Galakrond drank of the waters, and that is how Galakrond became Galakrond, the one that we're afraid of. And then you sort of have to start asking yourself, but wait a second, why is all of his powers decay? If he was empowered by the old gods, as they say he was, then he would have been an old god. Right, he would have had old god powers, because
maybe he should have manifested, like Deathwing and Cataclysm. Yep.
Yeah, but why did Deathwing not manifest the same way? Because Deathwing isn't pure decay. Deathwing is order
they're
magic.
Keeping stuff from us.
Well, yeah, kind of, right? Because I have videos that I want to make eventually, but okay, so Deathwing isn't pure decay magic. Deathwing is order magic mixed with decay. But Deathwing is order first, right? Because he was created by the Titans. The Titans turned him into Deathwing, or Nalfarian, the Earth Warder, and then eventually he became, Deathwing. But so they could only influence him. They couldn't completely corrupt him or completely change him. They could only influence him to use his abilities in their name. But they couldn't make him one of them. Not like Galakrond. Proto-Drakes are different. Proto-Drakes sort of suck any magic that they can get their hands on into themselves. So Galakrond could turn into an avatar of Yogg-Saron with very little problems. Whereas Deathwing wouldn't, because order magic is present. And that's the thing, right? That's why Deathwing wanted to keep the order magic very much intact with the Drakthir. Because you remove the order magic and the being becomes corruptible. And that becomes a problem. He wanted to keep them pure.
Interesting.
That's my theory, at least.
Yeah. Fantastic. That more than covers that point.
All right. What's the next question? We'll do one more.
All right. One more serious one, and then I'll throw in a silly one after that.
All right.
So this next one is themed on the machinations of Odin since his freedom from Helya.
Okay.
So in running through the Trial of Valor raid recently, I was struck by Odin's line after Helya is defeated, where he says, "I am free."
Yeah.
And this struck me as significant in the sense that he's been locked up in his halls, dicking around for how long? A long ass time.
Yeah.
And finally, he's no longer confined by that. Now, I know he had some stuff in the Shadowlands with the with his eye, but we've had a 5-year time jump. He has had all this time locked up and has whatever agenda he may. Mm-hmm. Do you think he may have sinister plans? And if so, or if not so, how do you think he's using his newfound time in freedom?
So, it's interesting, right? Xalatath calls Odin a great enemy until his own arrogance caused his undoing. Because, yes, when he basically forced Helya into Helheim, he sort of got himself fucked as well, right? In the process of that entire thing. So his own arrogance truly did lead to his undoing. He could no longer inflict his reign of chaos or tyranny on Azeroth. Now that he's free, I do think he's probably stepping up efforts at building his Valajar army. To what end, I don't know, though. Because from just the reading of what their purpose was, they were always meant to fight the old gods. But the old gods, of course, right now is kind of gone. At least from what we know. They are gone. So is Odin just chilling? I'd like to know your thoughts on this. Since you asked the question, you must have an idea of what you think he's been doing.
Frankly, I wasn't sure. I was very interested in your insight on this. I think the idea that he's building or strengthening his army makes a lot of sense. More Valkyr, more Valajar.
Yep.
Makes me think of a Stormheim that looks a lot more like the Halls of Valor, perhaps. Yeah, because I mean, we saw one bit of him on the Broken Shore, which all the Order Halls got a little bit of, and otherwise, yeah, it just seems like this fresh opportunity to really influence far beyond what he had before.
Yeah,
could open a lot of possibilities.
That's what I would argue. It all depends on what his initial sort of goals are. Because I don't trust Odin. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never trusted Odin. I've always said Odin is a massive fucking problem for me. Because
I'm a warrior. He was in my order hall. I don't trust him either.
Yeah, the problem with Odin is he says one thing then does another. And he fucked over his own daughter. So that should tell you just how like horrible a person he is, right? So I don't...
Yeah.
And he's not even based on a good guy, to be fair. Like, the original Odin in real life was also a bit of a dick sometimes. So it is...
yeah, he was as much a trickster god as people claim Loki was. Like,
yeah,
a lot of the Norse gods, they didn't exactly have a single portfolio, as they just kind of shared the portfolio of, oh, we're also dickheads.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that most gods are dickheads at the end of the day. But no, I think Odin... So Odin clearly had major plans. This is what I will say. I can't answer your question in detail, but I will say this. Odin's plans clearly extended far beyond what we could see. The fact that he traded his eye for the ability to see into the Shadowlands should be sort of point blank our first red flag with Odin. Why would he need that power? None of the other Watchers ever needed that power. There's nothing on Azeroth that suggests that power would ever be required. But he did do it. And the reason he couldn't claim his eye back once it was starting to be misused was because he was locked up inside, his own halls. Now that he's free and he's gotten his eye back and he is now basically able to exact his plan that he originally wanted to exact, I think we should all be worried. Because there is no more Helia to really block him from what he ultimately wants to do. Most of the other Titan Keepers are either completely useless now, just sort of hanging about, not sure what to do with their lives, or dead.
Definitely someone to keep an eye on.
Yes.
What'd you say?
Yeah. I would say...
Get out of this chat.
I would say... You have to keep an eye on that guy, because it's gonna be... Whatever it is, it's gonna be spicy, I think.
Yeah, and to follow on your Norse mythology reference, there's a quote compared to Odin from an article I really like on it, which compares the ancient Odin's attitude as not being far from one of Nietzsche's dictums, which is, "You say it is the good cause that hallows even war. I say unto you, it is the good war that hallows any cause." And I think that'd be a fascinating philosophy to be adapted to the Warcraft Odin.
They probably do, and they probably did, because I mean, Odin and the Titan Keepers are very much heavily inspired by Norse mythology and also Egyptian mythology. Basically split down the middle between those two mythologies. So there is a good chance that all of that does encompass what Odin is. We know that he is all for war. Why else would you have an entire heaven built for warriors? right? Where all they
Right.
do is train
Yeah.
the whole day for some kind of war that we don't know why. What's
it was
this
all
war
for the Legion, surely.
Yeah, of course. You know, that's the official story. This is like CIA level shits. What they tell you and what's true,
I mean,
right?
even when we're in the Dragon Isles and getting Tyr's memories and that little silver scale, there's
Mhm.
parts of it that are redacted that are probably because Odin said no, we can't tell, nobody can know about that.
Yeah.
And then in that vision that follows up on it, Odin or Tyr, my apologies, Tyr admits to Norse Domu that there are some things that only keepers are supposed to know.
Yeah. So Odin has no love lost for mortals, just FYI. Read the Book of Tyr. You'll understand. Odin can't stand us. As far as he's concerned, we are barely tolerable. Like, barely. It's fine as long as we're kept in the dark, as long as we're not told anything, and as long as we keep to ourselves. It's fine. We can sort of exist. He'll allow it. But Odin has no love lost for us. He genuinely, I think he would go to war with us in an instant if that served these purposes.
He'd probably offer the warriors the chance to fight in his army.
Likely, after he kills them, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because he's...
Hey, we do start our order hall with dying, so...
Yeah, there you
Right.
go. Maybe you are already fighting for Odin and you don't even know it.
Oh,
yet.
no! I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, you might be fighting already for Odin. You just don't know it yet because technically you did die and you did go there, right? And he did induct you into his army.
Suddenly we have two warriors looking at each other. Heinrich, are we the bad guys?
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, what was your fun question? You said you had one fun one.
Yeah. All right. I've got a silly question. I'll close this out with here. And thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure to speak
Thank you
with
so
you
much
and
for
you as well,
spending
Moni.
it. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for spending your time with
Thank you.
us because it's been super fun.
Oh, fantastic! I've got more serious questions lined up for hopefully I can catch the next Q&A.
Oh yeah.
All right, silly question. I've also got some what ifs. Those might be real fun.
Okay.
Silly. If Akalon were a battle pet, which one would he be?
Yeah. I don't know much about the battle pets, but I'm gonna say murky. Like a murky
Yeah.
pet.
That's
Just because
good.
those are the only ones I like.
Perfect.
Like I love the murky pets. Like I'd be Merkalon.
Yeah.
That'd be my name.
And they could totally do one that was themed after Gul'dan, and that'd be perfect for you.
Oh
Ah.
yes, yes. I'd love that.
Little spikes coming out of his back.
Yes. Fuck, I'd love that. And then I want to be the big Murloc in the alternate Murloc universe.
Yep.
The one that's shitting and destroying everything. That's the one I want to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for the questions, man. Really appreciate it. Those were super
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, you're very welcome. I look forward to sharing more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every week, Friday nights, we're gonna be doing Q&A, boys. So strap in, get
Okay.
your questions ready.
I'll be here.
All right. Thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
You too.
Peace.